The war on farmers continues. And why is that? Well, it's because when you have people who can actually grow their own food and with it doing so free from that of state control, well, what do you have? You have people that can't be controlled. And that's exactly why they've been consistently going after farmers, whether it be in Canada, the Netherlands, France, here in the United States. And here we can see that the feds are raiding Amos Miller's farms and with it confiscating some of their products. I find this incredibly fascinating solely based on the standard that they're not okay with you actually consuming raw natural products, whether it be raw milk, raw honey, meat that wasn't made in a factory farm. And here's the thing that's so incredibly fascinating about that. You can't make the decision to choose what you consume, but you can most certainly be mandated to take whatever they demand you get injected with. Isn't that incredibly interesting? Well, let's go ahead and throw it into this video. We'll be starting this off with Thomas Massey on Twitter. Looks like Amos Miller's farm is being raided. With all the problems in society today, this is what the government wants to focus on. A man growing food for informed customers without participating in the industrial meat and milk complex. It's shameful that it's come to this. And it is shameful that it's come to this, but it's absolutely no surprise whatsoever. One thing that I find so incredibly fascinating about what we've been told about milk is like so many people are coming to realize that they're lactose intolerant, right? They can't actually consume milk. Well, why is that? Well, it's because we stopped consuming raw milk. And here's the thing, when you're drinking hyper processed milk like we're doing, ultra pasteurized as we have been in the stores, and it's got all of these hormones in it, well, what's happening? They're stripping out certain pieces from the milk in the processing, and when they do so, they're removing something called lactase. Lactase is what your body uses to break down lactose, and in doing so, we can't actually process milk. And when I say we, I mean some people, because some people's body doesn't actually have the ability to break down lactose without lactase. So, if you're someone who's struggling to drink milk and with it you find yourself lactose intolerant, go get yourself some raw milk and try that, see if that works, because it very well should. Now, let's go ahead and throw it into this clip of the Lancaster Patriot, and we will be moving on throughout the rest of this video.
This is Chris Hume with the Lancaster Patriot. I'm currently outside of Amos Miller's organic farm operation here in Birmingham, Pennsylvania. There are currently 2 marked state trooper vehicles here, 3 other official use vehicles. I attempted to enter the building inside. A state trooper turned me away and said that they are executing a search warrant on Amos Miller's operations here. I have not been able to make contact with Amos Miller yet, but once again, Amos Miller's property here in Birmingham, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Law enforcement is once again harassing Amos Miller for serving his neighbors. And here we have a search warrant being executed, not allowing media to enter the building. Stay tuned, for this is a developing story. We will have updates as we have a search warrant being executed on Amos Miller's property right now as I speak.
From FAFO Farms, updates on Amos Miller's farm and the war on farming. Our government does not want happy, healthy Americans enjoying the spoils of their community. They want you sick and dependent on big food and big pharma, who are often owned by the same entities. Our politicians are useless as they're bought and paid for through donations from companies who love to see small farms who serve their communities shut down. Evil GoFundMe has shut down Amos Miller's efforts to raise money to support their legal battles, $300,000 of which is what they need. This is what the government termination of real food choices in the modern day looks like, and we know from personal experience that this is tyranny. Support your local farmer while you can. You have no idea what it means to them and to us. Buy local, live your values. And yes, I would say you should buy local. You should be living your values. You should be going to local farms or local butchers. And let's say you can't do that. Well, what can you do? Well, what you can do is go to that of a farmer's market. You can find a farmer's market near you, and you can go get these single ingredient foods, these healthy foods, because it's well worth your time, because you're worth the time. That's something you have to address. You need to take care of your health because it's important. And why is that? Not only so you can be a pillar for those that need you so that they can lean on you when it matters most, and with it, you will be the healthiest version of yourself, most capable at taking on the challenge and doing so adeptly. And what else? Because if you are a fat, lethargic, lazy person, the government will gladly use this and exploit it. And with it, this is exactly what they did throughout all of COVID when they pacified everyone into a state of tyranny and terrorized them to the point where they were willing to subject themselves to the standards of Big Pharma and the mandates of what were being told to them. And with it, they acquiesced like sheep. And what happened afterwards? Well, people consistently came out talking about the fact of how we shouldn't be mandated to do these things. Why is it that we didn't pay attention to the standards that were set prior with how we had tackled all of the viruses prior when it comes to the nature of how we had cultivated information throughout all of human history after understanding things like germ theory? Why didn't we actually utilize these pieces of information? Well, it's because it was so much more advantageous to go ahead and thrust you into that of the pharma lobby's hands, and with it, when doing so, we can see that it is just the perfect example of another time government sets the precedent that they do not care about you, they do not care about your health. Otherwise, they would have been promoting exercise, vitamins, sunlight. They don't care about any of that, though, because they don't care about you. Now let's go ahead and throw it into this clip.
This is Chris Hume with the Lancaster Patriot. I'm here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania on Amos Miller's farm in Burdenhand, Pennsylvania. Just moments ago, state troopers and other state agents left the property carrying with them multiple coolers, which they took products from Amos Miller's farm and loaded them into those coolers and carried them off. They wouldn't comment. One state trooper refused to give his badge number and his name. One state trooper did provide that information. Went inside Amos Miller's operation then and saw a note that the government is saying Amos Miller is not allowed to sell potentially all of his products until the secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture changes the order. So that's where we're at with this. The government has come in and said, Amos Miller, you cannot sell your food. Your customers are not allowed to buy it. And until that ban is lifted, Amos Miller is basically prevented from serving his neighbor. And this has been an example of tyranny on full display. And what happens next really depends on the American people and how much they will get behind Amos and challenge these elected representatives and this secretary of the Department of Agriculture to stop this tyranny and let Amos Miller serve his neighbor and let his neighbors purchase their food from him. So stay tuned for updates on this developing story.
Confiscating the man's product, and with it, in doing so, removing his ability to provide for his family as well as his community, so making the lives of other people worse as well. Isn't that something? Without government, who would make sure these people wouldn't be able to assist their communities in ways that other people greatly value? Oh my goodness! And something that we can all certainly agree on is that if there were any threat to freedom in the government, it's most certainly the Amish. Unbelievable. Well, here we have GoFundMe, and it says, help Amos Miller save our traditional foods. This is what people were saying got shut down. I do believe it is back up. If you would like to donate money, which I will be doing once I finish recording this video, Amos Miller under attack again. This is Give, Send, Go. Here we can see $74,000 has been sent of the $150,000 goal, as well as over here we can see a $175,000 goal, $155,000. And man, you can see the organizers of who's created these. You can see where the money's going. So it's not like you're just sending your money into a black pool to just be shipped off. This is for their legal fees, as well as to hopefully make sure they can sustain and not lose things like their farm or many of the factors of, well, let's say selling off pieces of their land. Because with it, if they have to do so because they're going to be fighting uphill legal battles and the government's just going to be trying to steamroll them, well, they might actually have to go ahead and get rid of assets just in the sake of trying to salvage something. And well, that's why you should go ahead and support them at places like Give, Send, Go, and GoFundMe. Now we go ahead and move on and see state employees search Amos Miller's farm, seize property. As you know, we've been going over this, and well, this isn't the first time it's happened. And here we see this is a long article. I went through roughly half of it. You can go into it in your own time if you're willing. Link in the description down below. As per usual, all of the stuff that I use in every single video will always be there for you to go check out. If I'm going through something, I didn't go through it long enough, or I didn't break it down in a way you like, you think I'm wrong about something, go check it out and then point out to me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below, and I'll gladly go ahead and check it out, and I'll have the conversation with you, because if you disagree with me, well, that's perfectly fine. You're here and you're willing to listen to me talk, so you're more than worthy of me spending my time to actually understand why you believe what you believe, because it doesn't matter if we disagree. All that matters is that we can have the conversation to understand the nature of why we have the merits of the ideas that we, let's say, express in the way that we do them. Alrighty, here we see from The Guardian, Nitrogen Wars, the Dutch farmers' revolt that turned a nation upside down. And yeah, absolutely. And here we go on to see how Dutch farmers became the center of a global right-wing culture war. Why is it that natural food is something that's being right-wing? Why is that something that is a thing? I don't understand this. The fact that health and not wanting to be, let's say, subjected to the standards of the World Health Organization and big pharma at every single turn. Why is this right wing? I don't understand it. It's absolutely mind blowing. But with it, you can see that the left very much doing the establishment's bidding. This could just be a tie-in with that, and that would make perfect sense. And now we go on here from the post-millennial. Trudeau's war on farmers could create catastrophe as food prices soar. The net income for Canadian farmers fell 8.3% in 2022, and the expense of running a farm increased by 21.2% in 2022, the largest gain since 1974. And this is what it's like for farmers all over the world. They are all suffering from these price hikes and increases, and with it, the governments of the world don't care how much they're going to make people suffer. So what happens when they're struggling to produce food? What happens when the price of creating and cultivating food goes up? Well, the price of food goes up. And people thought inflation was affecting the price of food bad. Now, I promise you, it's only going to get worse. And with it, government is going to tell you that everything is just fine. And the regulations that they're putting on farmers, well, you don't need to worry about that, because certainly this couldn't be an issue for anyone. They will sit there and then tell you that they are justified in their actions. It doesn't matter how many people starved from them. And then they will go on to act as if they were the heroes of the story all along. And as I've stated, if you want to go ahead and donate, go to Give, Send, Go. Go ahead and go to GoFundMe. I would recommend Give, Send, Go. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. Please go ahead and support your local farms, support your local farmers markets, and most importantly, take care of yourself, take care of your health, because you're worth it and people need you, because we need you here, because you matter more than you know. Thank you for watching. Stay lovely, stay great. Tell someone you love them. Thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Tell me where I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Peace out.